All right, get ready because we're about to take a deep dive into something pretty unique. We're talking about a concept album, but it's not just any album. This one's all about someone named Val.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like we get to peek right inside the creator's head as we go through each track.
And what I find so fascinating is how this album isn't just like a random collection of songs. You know what I mean? It's really structured like a story, kind of like a sonic self-portrait.
Mhm.
Each track, it's like it reveals another piece of Val's world.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Val is this incredibly driven person, but she's also like caught between two worlds. She's trying to honor her heritage,
Yeah.
but she also wants to forge her own path.
Oh, I see. So it's like she's at this crossroads.
Exactly.
The music is the map.
Totally. And I think that tension between tradition and like individuality, I feel like everyone struggled with that at some
Oh,
point.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's such a relatable theme.
Yeah, and you can hear that struggle play out right from the first track, Coroli Doriconia. Even the title, it makes you think of some, I don't know, majestic kingdom, right?
Right, right. There's a real grand kind of sweeping feel to it, especially with that mix of neoclassical and Italian folk music. But then when you listen to the lyrics, it's like you said, it's about forbidden love and the clash between societal expectations and what you really want.
Yeah,
So there's definitely a darkness underneath all that grandeur.
totally. Like, remember how it opens? Oh, golden mountains, keepers of the past.
Yeah,
Almost like the mountains are a symbol of tradition, watching over
I
everything.
say.
And then it goes, yet shadows darken gilded light, a quiet pain concealed from sight. Like, it hints that there are secrets and struggles hidden behind this perfect kingdom.
It reminds me of those families where everything looks, picture perfect from the outside, but you can tell there's all this tension simmering below the surface.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes societal expectations can be like a gilded cage, right?
Yeah, and it feels like Val's trapped in one, torn between her duty to her family and what her heart really wants.
Makes you wonder what sacrifices they might demand of her, just to maintain those traditions.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but then we totally switch gears with track two. Nobody makes pasta like Chives Xavier. It's like all of a sudden we're this world of like kids pop music with some folk and even a little Disney influence.
It's such a cool contrast. We go from this epic scope of Coro di Doriconia to something so personal and intimate, like we're suddenly in the kitchen with Val.
Right.
And food, especially in Italian culture, it's all about heritage and love, right?
Totally.
So,
Who is this Chives Xavier? The notes describe them as like a heroic, almost mythical representation of mastery and love in cooking. It makes me think of some wise, kind of whimsical chef,
oh, interesting.
maybe a mentor figure from Val's past.
Yeah, could be, right? But maybe Chives Xavier represents something bigger, too.
Yeah.
Maybe a symbol of that comfort and warmth that Val connects with family tradition.
I see.
I mean, think about it. After the heaviness of that first track, this song brings a sense of peace and joy.
Yeah, it's a reminder of the good things that can come from heritage.
Exactly.
And there's that line, in his kitchen, the world takes pause, a celebration of life with no flaws.
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like an escape for Val, from all the pressure she's facing. Just a moment of pure connection through food.
Totally. But do you think that peace can last? I mean, we're only 2 tracks in, and Val's journey is just getting started.
You're right. Okay, and speaking of journeys, track 3, I'm Not Your Bride, it totally cranks up the energy. It's like this mix of Baroque pop, folk rock, and punk.
Wow, what a change.
Yeah. And the title alone makes it clear. Val's done holding back.
Yeah, she's not messing around. This is like her rebellion, her declaration of independence, especially against, those expectations that try to define her worth based on marriage.
Oh, I felt that. Remember those lyrics? You want a rose, you'll get my thorns. This heart was mine before I was born.
Oh, yeah. It's like she's saying, I'm not here to play by your rules. I have my own strength and my own story to tell.
Totally.
I love how the music, that blend of styles, it kind of mirrors Val's own complexity, She's drawing from her heritage, like with that Baroque sound, but she's also pushing back against it with that raw punk energy.
And the lyrics talk about gilded cage where bloodlines speak and love's a contract, not a right.
Yeah.
Like it paints a picture of this world where tradition controls everything, even matters of the heart.
Makes you wonder what experiences pushed her to this point, what made her snap.
Yeah.
And the word rival instead of bride, that's so deliberate. It's like she's not just rejecting a specific person. She's rejecting the whole system that tries to control her life.
It's powerful. Okay, but then track 4, If Only They Knew, takes us in a totally different direction. Even the title, it suggests vulnerability.
Right.
And the music, it's a softer pop ballad. It definitely underscores that shift.
It's like we're suddenly pulled into Val's inner world, you know? We see her deepest fears and anxieties. I'm Not Your Bride was her outward rebellion.
Uh-huh.
But this is the internal struggle. It's the fear of what people will think, the feel of rejection that comes with being your true self.
Totally. Like the lyrics about hiding a spark and feeling like a stranger in a story they choose.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. It's
Yeah.
like she's wearing this mask for the world, too afraid to let anyone see the real her.
And that line, what if this truth is the cause of my regret?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's something we all fear. Like, what if being authentic means losing the people we love?
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
And especially when the creator mentions that Val's struggling with her sexual identity and like how her culture makes it hard to even talk about those feelings. It just adds another layer to her struggle, you know?
Absolutely. It's like she's trapped in a world that doesn't have the words to understand a fundamental part of who she is.
Exactly. But even with all that fear, there's this glimmer of hope, like a yearning for acceptance. Like, if only they knew the fire inside, how it's burning to break through the lies. It makes me wonder if Val will find the courage to share her truth as the album goes on.
It's definitely a question hanging in the air as we move into track 5, Rivoluzione in Cucina. I love how the album keeps using these Italian titles, by the way.
Me too. And this track is a total curveball. Italian folk meets new metal. I mean, who would have thought?
It's brilliant. It's like Val's taking these traditional culinary traditions, but she's adding her own twist, you know? It's like a metaphor for how she's approaching her heritage and identity.
Right. It says in the notes, it's like a vibrant celebration of culinary creativity as a metaphor for rebellion, evolution, and the fusion of tradition with innovation. Like, she's honoring her roots, but she's not afraid to break free from the recipe.
It's like that image of Grandma's smile from the second track. You know, she's taking that warmth and love, but she's adding her own spice to it.
I love that. And that fusion of Italian folk and new metal, it's like the music itself is showing that clash between traditional and modern.
It is, yeah.
And then there's that line, sung in Italian no less, Sangue e farina non c'è più un piano, blood and flour, there's no more plan. Gives me chills every time.
Right.
That image of blood and flour, it's so powerful. It's like it represents her heritage and all the effort she's putting into this personal evolution. It's messy, it's unpredictable, but it's hers.
It's really cool.
So we've gone from a majestic kingdom to a revolution in the kitchen. I can't wait to see what happens next in Val's journey.
Me neither.
But I have a feeling it's only going to get more intense.
Yeah, it's like we just climbed the first ridge of a mountain range with Val, and the view from here, it's just breathtaking. Her journey, it's just so raw and honest.
Absolutely. And speaking of mountains, track 6, Melting Pot, it takes us on a totally different kind of climb. This one's all about, like, intellectual rigor and the pursuit of truth, but get this, it's described as a metaphorical recipe.
I love that. Using culinary imagery to explore something so abstract, it's really clever. The creator talks about spices, broths, alchemy. It's like Val's treating knowledge the way a master chef approaches ingredients, carefully selecting and refining each element to create something unique.
Yeah, and sonically, we're in a whole new world with this one. Rap metal and new metal influences. It creates this sense of urgency, like Val's really digging deep to unearth the truth.
Yeah, it's like she's not just passively absorbing information, you know, she's challenging it, breaking it down, and creating her own understanding. Remember that line, every idea is a spice, but not all spice belongs in my recipe.
Yes. It speaks to Val's critical thinking skills. Like she's not just accepting things at face value. She's taking what resonates with her and discarding what doesn't fit her worldview.
It's like she's saying, I'm not afraid to question anything, even long-held beliefs. And, you know, it makes you think about her earlier struggles with tradition. She's not content just accepting things as they are. She wants to understand the why behind everything.
And it's interesting how the creator connected this song to Val's love of cooking. It's like that same attention to detail, that same passion. She brings it to her intellectual pursuits as well.
Right. It's like those two worlds, they feed off each other, pushing her to constantly refine and evolve her understanding.
All right, get ready to sweat because track 7, Grind, this is a sonic workout for sure. Driving drum and bass rhythms, even the title, it says it all. This one's about pushing limits and like relentless self-improvement.
Yeah, it's a total motivational anthem. It's got that like no pain, no gain energy. And the lyrics, they're like commands. Wake at dawn, grind. No alarms, grind. Drills on drills, grind. Fundamentals, grind. Discipline, repetition, unwavering commitment to excellence.
Makes me think of those elite athletes, you know, the ones who train day in and day out. pushing their bodies to the absolute limit. It's not just about talent, right? It's about the sheer willpower to keep going, even when your body's screaming at you to stop.
And do you remember what the creator said about Val? They used the word arrogant to describe her approach to self-improvement. Like, there's a potential downside to this intense drive.
Right. Like, at what point does the pursuit of excellence become, I don't know, detrimental? There's that line about how machines don't lie, which makes me think she might be relying too much on data and metrics to track her progress, almost losing sight of the human element.
It's a good point. It raises the question, can we lose our humanity in the pursuit of some ideal? It's a theme we see a lot with high achievers, that pressure to constantly push harder, even at the cost of their own well-being.
Yeah, definitely something to think about. Okay, get ready because we've reached the summit, folks. Track 8, The Climb, the title track, and it does not disappoint. Symphonic rock blended with folk rock and metal. It's epic, it's powerful, it's everything you'd expect.
It's like we're experiencing Val's entire journey in this one song. The lyrics talk about a mountain rising, calling my name, about carving a path through blood and years. The music just swells and soars, capturing both the struggle and the triumph of climbing that metaphorical mountain of self-discovery.
And those guitars, the drums. You can practically feel the wind whipping around you as you climb that peak. There's this exhilarating feeling, but also a deep understanding that this journey isn't for everyone.
It's not just about reaching the destination, though, right? The creator emphasizes that it's the climb itself, the challenges you overcome, the lessons you learn along the way. That's where the real growth happens.
Totally. And that line, every scar I earn is mine alone. It highlights the individual nature of this journey. It's personal, it's challenging, and it's about defining success on your own terms.
And that breakdown, rise, fall, climb. It's such a powerful reminder that setbacks are inevitable, you know? True strength is about getting back up, dusting yourself off, and continuing to climb.
So true. But what happens when you reach the top? Track 9, the aftermath, it takes us there. But the mood, it shifts dramatically. It's more melancholic rock and alternative folk. There's a much more introspective tone.
Yeah, it's like the initial excitement of reaching the summit has faded, and Val's left with this unexpected emptiness. The lyrics talk about the silence after the cheers, that feeling of like meaninglessness, even though you achieved your goal. It's such a contrast to the energy of the climb.
It's like she's asking herself, what now?
Yeah.
You know, the mountain conquered, yet meaning falls. It really makes you question the idea that success equals happiness.
It does. And the creator's note about Val questioning the value of the journey itself adds another layer to it.
Right. Was it the climb, the goal, the fight, or the fleeting praise that felt so right? It's like she's reevaluating her motivations, wondering if the pursuit was more fulfilling than the actual achievement.
That's so relatable, though, isn't it? To strive for something so intensely and then wonder if it was all worth it?
Totally. And this line really stuck with me. The aftermath shows who we are. It's like true character is revealed not in moments of victory, but in how we handle the emptiness, the uncertainty, the questions that come after the cheering stops.
It's true. Growth is an ongoing process, not a destination. Even after you achieve a major goal, the journey continues. There are always new mountains to climb, both literally and metaphorically.
Which brings us to the final track, Rise Together. It feels like we've come full circle, you know. It's got this anthemic, like inspirational rock sound with some indie folk elements, and it just creates this feeling of hope and connection. Like after all the introspection of the aftermath, it feels like Val's finally found a new perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Like she's realizing that true strength isn't just about, individual achievement. It's about lifting each other up, sharing the journey.
Right?
Remember what the notes said about this track? Like it's a shift from an individual mindset to a collective one.
Yeah. It's like she's learned that the climb is it's more meaningful when you've got people beside you, supporting you, challenging you.
Exactly. And the lyrics, they're all about unity and shared purpose. Like one spark in the fire, one drop in the sea, writing our tale and humanity's key. It's such a beautiful image. Like we're all connected. We're all part of something bigger.
I know, right? It's powerful. And that line, it's not the top where the story ends, but the climb we take with our friends. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is. It's not about reaching the summit. It's about the connections we make along the way.
It really makes you think about your own life, your own struggles.
Yeah.
Like, who are you climbing with? Who are you supporting? Because even though everyone's path is unique, we're all kind of navigating similar terrain in a way.
We are. And I keep thinking back to what the creator said about their own personal mountain, related to self-identification. It's like they used Val's journey as a way to process their own experiences, finding their voice, embracing their authentic self.
Right, right.
And that's what's so amazing about creative expression. It can help us work through difficult emotions and also connect with other people who might be going through something similar. By sharing their story, the creator's basically inviting us to think about our own journeys, our own mountains to climb.
And that's what makes this whole deep dive so powerful. We've gone from a majestic kingdom to a revolution in the kitchen, from the depths of self-doubt to this realization that we're stronger together. Val's journey is like a microcosm of the human experience, isn't it?
It is. We all face challenges, we all crave connection, we all have our mountains to climb. But as we've learned from Val, the climb is always better when we share it with others, when we support each other, celebrate each other's victories.
Absolutely. So I guess as we wrap up, the question I'm left with is, what mountains are you climbing, and who are you climbing them with? Because as Val's story shows us, the journey is always better together.